If everyone could please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance in moment of silence.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okey doke. First on the public agenda, we have public comment period. Toby? Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Make sure the light is green. That's exciting to have that back.
It is green. Toby Arsenian, 95 Granite Street. On the 28th of November, I asked your board in public comment period if you would request from the Harbor Advisory Committee any materials that they had sent to the Army Corps of Engineers subsequent to the meeting that the Army Corps of Engineers held here. That's now many months gone. At that meeting, with 3 of you present, the board agreed, didn't vote, that you would ask for that material from the Army Corps. I spoke with Linda Sanders briefly after your budget workshop last week, and she assured me that she had spoken with people in the Harbor Advisory Committee and that nothing had been sent to the Army Corps. I was reassured, and I was mistaken in that regard, because she also added that the Harbor Advisory Committee was submitting materials to GZA Associates. GZA Associates are the outfit that the town hired with the $20,000 that Senator Tarr secured for a, how to describe it, a feasibility study for the Granite Pier Extension project. So now it turns out that they're submitting things to the Army Corps with using GZA as an intermediary. It's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. And I'm asking your board if you will please write to GZA Associates, who are acting in the public behalf using public money, and ask for anything that they have submitted to the Army Corps since the meeting that was held in town here.
I'll let Linda let you answer once, but Toby, don't you go to all the Harbor Advisory meetings?
No, I don't go to any of them.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
Yes, GZA works for us,
Right.
not the, they're not reporting anything to the Army Corps of Engineers. They're giving us a study, and they're just finishing up with the 20,000, I think that it was, that came from the state. So what the Harbor Advisory Committee member is just giving him in whatever, Steve, I think is his name, the engineer at GZA, any information he needs to just finish up that report for us.
The report is for us, though. The
Yeah.
report, nothing's being submitted to the Army Corps. We've said this before, if anything's going to be submitted to the Army Corps, it's going to come from the Board of Selectmen, unless we
That's right.
direct Harbor Advisory to do so. Right.
And Toby, are you assuming that it's being sent, or do you know it's being sent?
I guess I misunderstood that.
Okay, no problem.
So when we do get the GZA report, what happens here? Who is going to review it?
Well,
The board.
we will.
I see.
And I assume Harbor Advisory will review it at their meeting.
And hopefully Granite Pier will too.
Right.
You know?
But it's the town's report.
Okay, good. That's all settled. That's
Great.
excellent. May I speak about something else?
Sure.
Yes. I see posted upstairs for 1:30 on Thursday in this very room a meeting of the Government and Bylaw Committee with one item on the agenda, and that is the appointment of Jason Shaw to the Government and Bylaw Committee. And I thought that it had been agreed that anyone who was going to be appointed would be interviewed in public first. And obviously, in this case, if he's to be appointed then and there, that's not going to happen. And I'm well aware of who's entitled to appoint the person. It's you, Madam Chairman, and Mr. Wagner as chair of the Finance Committee and the moderator. So it's not a Board of Selectmen's matter directly, but it had been agreed in the past that candidates would be interviewed in public. And now it seems that somebody is to be appointed without that happening. And I don't know Jason Shaw from Adam. He may be a legal genius and a living saint and overqualified for the Supreme Court, but I object to the appointment of Jason Shaw or anyone else who has not been interviewed in public here. It may meet the letter of the law.
Right, we've been
It
through
does, but it is not decent or fair. And you say that it's important that the town committees, that people be aware of who serves on them, and it's for that reason that there's the 2-week gap between the interview and the appointment. And that's one of the most important town committees with statutory authority. And I hope you will cancel the meeting Thursday and interview Jason Shaw here before you consider appointing him.
Okay, thanks. Let's try not to get so heated about it at least before we have an answer.
The bylaw says that to fill unexpired terms, it's just the moderator. So the Finance Committee Chair and the Select Board's Chair does it if they're, if terms are up. The three of them have to do it, but midterm.
Right, but wouldn't it, well, I actually didn't even know about that meeting, so, but wouldn't,
Right,
wouldn't,
I know, that's what I'm telling you.
But we've interviewed people to fill unexpired terms for other committees.
right, that's a rare one because all it takes is those 3 people, but I do know that we've told Toby in the past that
Yeah.
just as an informal thing, we would interview just to be more upfront. And because those meetings usually happen during the day.
Mm-hmm.
But I would feel more, it's weird to me that Bob would just that we wouldn't interview the person informally. I don't know.
Is there some reason that there's an immediate need for this right now? Could it wait and come to us?
Well, the thing is, it doesn't belong
have to
with
come
you.
to
It doesn't have
Just
to.
the moderator.
Right,
Just the
right,
moderator.
but if it's
But
an
if he wa-
expired
if you-
term, we have said in the past
Yes,
that we would.
absolutely.
Right, so wouldn't we just, in good faith, do the same thing for an unexpired term?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy to contact Bob about it.
Yeah, I think
I don't
we
think
need
it's a
to-
big deal, and I assume it's Mr. Shaw that was at our budget
It
meeting.
is.
So
And I'm guilty of convincing him he should talk to the moderator
well,
about this.
it's fine that he did that, but I think in good faith he should come to our next meeting and then I'm happy to, if we can, I'm happy to contact Bob about it. But I totally agree with you.
Thank you very much.
Is can we just contact Bob and let him
Sure.
know that he should come in? Okay,
There are more seats up
Mr.
here.
Tar. Sure. Don't be shy.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Frederick Tyler, 154 Main Street. I can't stay, but there are a couple of items here. One, which is very important, the population estimate. I have my old fire radio from when I was in the fire department. I don't get the police calls and everything, but I do get the ambulance calls and fire calls. And I've kept track lately, and I would say at least half of the ambulance calls are for people not listed in the nosy book. Now, maybe they're parents.
I think the nosy book's a little outdated. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if that many people want to be in the nosy book anymore.
Well, I'm just saying, if that is the only, I turned in my census form.
Yeah.
Maybe a lot of people just don't bother, especially if they're coming up to live with their children at the end of their lives or something, because most of them are older people that the ambulance is called for, but they're not in the nosy
Yeah,
book.
I think we have the police chief and lieutenant here. I think they could comment, but my guess is that a lot of people just opt out of the nosy book because the police and
Yeah, but
fire
I'm-
can still find them. But do you want to comment on that, chief?
I'm not sure the process for getting your name into the nosy book.
Well, I'm just thinking, if that is the official
It's
count
not.
of the town,
The nosy book is not
how
the
is
official
how
count.
is it done then? If people don't turn in their census forms to stay out of the nosy book, how are they counted as part of our population? Especially for grants.
Yeah,
and
we
so
could
forth.
ask. I'm happy to ask the town clerk and then report back to you at our next meeting. But I think people can opt out of the as interesting as the nosy book is. I think people can opt out of the
Well, I
nosy
was just
book.
concerned because if that is the official
Yeah.
count of the town,
No, it
the
isn't.
the actual count of the people is a heck of a lot more than that are in that book. So, anyway,
Okay, we'll
Uh,
get an answer for that, for you
thank
on
you.
that, sure.
the other one very quickly.
Sure.
I see you're going to discuss sidewalks on Nugent Stretch, and I would hope that progress could be made in that regard, because there are more and more people walking or bicycling, and I would hope the sidewalk should be open to bicycles as well. But
Okay, thank
I
you.
think it's important because I've seen a lot of people get the quick dodges on Nugent Stretch to get around people.
Sure.
And also, if you're coming from Gloucester, this is a state road, I know, but if you're coming from Gloucester and you pull out to pass where that dotted line starts, it's deadly. You can't see anything. I think the state should correct that to the point where you can see what's coming.
Okay,
Deb.
thank you.
Thank you, Ted.
Anyone else for public comment? Nope. Okay, hearing none. Next, we have, good evening to the police chief and Lieutenant Schmink. If you guys want to join us down at the table, I think we have an interview tonight, at least one, for a police officer. Good evening.
So, hi, Select Board members, Town Administrator, community members. I sit before you tonight to introduce a permanent intermittent police officer, Christopher Lavoie, who's going to be interviewing with you for the position of full-time police officer. Chris is a lifetime Peabody citizen. He served our country in the United States Navy for overseas and was honorably discharged in 2014. He's been working with us as a permanent intermittent police officer since 2016 and has done a very, very good job. In addition to that, he attends Salem State University in pursuit of his bachelor's degree. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have regarding Chris, or I can bring him in and you can ask him directly.
Sure. Welcome.
Bring
Happy
him
to
in.
have,
Bring
go
him
ahead,
in.
bring him in.
Bring him in.
Come on in, Chris.
And we actually interviewed Chris when he became a permanent intermittent.
Correct.
Yeah. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us. If you wouldn't mind, just for the benefit of the people who haven't met you before, tell us a little bit about your current work for the town and then why you're interested in becoming a full-time officer. That would be great.
Okay. Almost a year ago, I graduated the Reserve Academy. Been taking shifts as much as I can. Filled a couple month-long positions for a couple of the guys that are in the academy now, just to help out with the staffing. Been trained everything that I could there, dispatch and patrolman, and just trying to work as much as I can. But I love the town. It's so nice. Being from Peabody, it was very different for me. So coming up here, it's nice. I don't know. I'll also say it's different. So I love the job, the people I work with,
Great.
and the people I meet out in town are awesome. I've had no problems here. So.
Great. Are there questions from the board members? Selectman Murphy?
Chris, can you, what shifts have you been doing all three shifts, or any particular shift that you like better, or?
All three.
Yeah.
When I was doing FTO training, it was mostly day and evening shift.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I'm trained, I can work on my own. I'm usually on the midnight shift. So,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's quiet. It's
Knock on wood.
right. Yeah, it's quiet. It's you share calls, but
What do you find it to be the most difficult part of being a police officer?
for me
Yeah.
is the medical side of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I initially didn't expect that there would be so much of that, but I think small town, we're definitely the first ones there, so it's part of the job, and it's a very important part. So
First of all, thank you for your service to the country and to the
Thank you.
town. They're both very important, so thank you for that.
What experience or experiences or challenges have you had and that you found, whether it be positive or negative, and how have you overcome them? Is there anything that's happened that has really shown you something that you didn't expect, maybe, and so that's presented a challenge to you, and how you've come about on that?
I think for me, the first time I think I dealt with someone that had a mental illness was probably, it was eye-opening for me. I had never really experienced that, and I had a good trainer with me that on my own I probably wouldn't have been able to handle. And since I've had a couple on my own, and those have been, they're difficult, but they just take time and experience, and gets a little bit easier to deal with. I think.
Good, good and honest answer, thank you.
Other questions? No. Chief, did you have anything else that you?
Chris is somewhat humble. He's done a fantastic job for us in the short time he's here. And really, something that's impressive about Chris is his initiative and desire to work and be a part of the department and a part of the town, and to learn. He has that very important characteristic of wanting to learn and wanting to be a part of different operations. He's worked different details, different shifts, different investigations, so he's going to do a very, very, very good job for us.
Great. Lieutenant, did you have anything to add?
Just pretty much the same comments. Officer Lavoie has really stepped up and fulfilled his role that was expected of him, and actually surpassed expectations relative to his duties and responsibilities, and we're actually extremely appreciative of that. We see a lot of the new officers coming in with those type of attributes, which is what we're looking for.
Yeah.
And we're really happy to have him, and he's a good fit. He's a good fit for the police department. He's really done really well. Highly recommend him.
Great. Any other comments? No.
Echo their comments. The chief and lieutenant speak very highly of him.
Great.
Wonderful.
If you don't mind, I would like to just skip ahead to our action list to make a motion right now, if that's acceptable. Okay.
Do we have any conflict with Mary being on here, just as a point of fairness, just do we have a problem, there's no problem with that?
No,
right?
I don't think there's gonna be another interview tonight.
Right.
Right.
So that's,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
good, just wanted to make sure,
Yeah.
that's fine. Okay, Madam Chair, I move that the Board of Selectmen appoint Christopher Lavoie as a full-time police officer effective February 1st, 2018.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded, and that timing works for the department? Great, okay. Are there any further comments?
No?
No. Excited to have you as a full-time member. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Great.
Welcome.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Chris.
Welcome aboard. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you around town.
Yes.
They look younger and younger. Thanks, Chief. Thank you, Lieutenant, as well. Thanks.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. Great. It's always nice to add new police officers. Okay. Moving on, we have approval of, sorry, and there will not be a second interview tonight with Mary Fountain. Next, we have approval of minutes of December 19th, 2017. Is there a motion?
There is. I move that the selectmen approve the minutes of December 19th, 2017.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Next, we have approval of minutes of January 9th, 2019. And this is our budget meeting, right?
Yes.
Yes.
From last week.
Yes, excellent minutes,
yeah.
Eileen.
I was not there, so I'm going to recuse myself.
I move that the selectmen approve the minutes of January 9th, 2018.
Okay, motion has been made
Second.
and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. 4 with one abstention.
Eileen, I abstained on the December 19th, didn't I? Yeah.
Oh, wait, was I there on the 19th?
No.
So I need to abstain on that one as well, sorry. Okey-doke. Next, we have selectmen updates and liaison reports.
I just want to talk a little bit about the storm. I had the opportunity to go down at high tide and see the public safety working extremely hard, including the police department, DPW, fire. This was a pretty historical storm,
Sound
not
like
as
you.
not as significant as the blizzard of '78, but everyone did a great job, and we are lucky to have such diligent workers. I think the new parking emergency ban worked fairly well. I mean, I think it's only going to get better as time goes on, but we got the message out to people that it was going to be 3 consecutive days of getting the cars off the road, and I think it worked well.
Yeah, I enjoyed how it kind of played out on social media, because at one point somebody wrote in and was like, oh, I thought it was just one night, but I got either a ticket or a warning, and then kind of everyone else was like, no, it was 3 nights. So people are on top of it. I
Yep.
feel like people know that it's such an improvement over the old system, that people are kind of, they're on top of it. And one was enacted for tonight, right?
Tonight and tomorrow.
Tomorrow night.
2 nights.
Exactly. So I was happy to see. It was great having all the news. I mean, I had family and friends from all over town, all over the country, kind of being like, yeah, watching you guys on the Weather Channel. Really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was, I was down there and I was talking to one of the reporters from WBZ, and they said, it'd be nice if some of the restaurants were open. I said, I've never heard that before.
Well, they were almost washed away.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it kind
yeah.
of made it
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
It'd be
That'll be
tough.
seawater soup.
Yeah. I think some people might have been feeling a little cabin fever, so maybe.
Yeah, exactly. Other updates, liaison reports?
Mine would be one for tomorrow night, actually, for the DPW Commissioners meeting. And at that meeting, transfer operations are going to be discussed. And the pay-as-you-throw and bulk setup that we have now. So, if everybody, back to social media, people always say after the fact that, why didn't they tell us? How come we didn't know? Well, it's posted, it's out there, everybody knows. So if somebody has something to say, I would urge people here and then everybody watching at home to be at that meeting tomorrow night. At that meeting, as well as it was pointed out, I had to change the wording on it. The fee schedule will be set up for 2 weeks after that to be discussed. So they're not gonna set fees tomorrow night, but it will be discussed. The hearing will be set for 2 weeks after that. So that's another one that people should absolutely attend if you want to have a voice in what goes on down there. So I would urge anybody to do that.
Right, so by law, when they set the transfer station and pay-as-you-throw fees, they have to do it with a public hearing. So that will be, the date for that will be
Be
set
set.
tomorrow night.
Right, exactly.
Right,
Right.
so 2 important DPW
Yep.
meetings.
Yep.
Great. Any other liaison reports? I didn't make any notes, but okay. And then we have next week off, right? Okay, great.
I'm gonna throw one more thing in there if I can, because it got mentioned tonight on the code red that went out. And I think it's important to say it multiple times about shoveling and people shoveling their sidewalks. There is a town bylaw that says that you have to shovel your own sidewalks. And it's important to do that. There was, especially people that live near the school bus stops and what have you, we had some problems the last time, and it's a dangerous situation. And it's difficult, we know, but we all have to kind of do what we have to do. So I was nice to hear it on tonight's alert, but just to kind of say it as people are talking about with the parking ban and parking and, looking out for each other. This is kind of along those same lines, that people should know this, and let's just get the information out there so people know and we can take care of it.
Yeah, helpful.
Thanks.
Yep, thanks. Anything else?
No, that's a discussion item, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, moving on, town administrators report.
Actually, I just have a few things that didn't make it on the report.
Mm-hmm.
Very short ones. One is we got notified that the Millbrook Meadow Committee has elected a new slate of officers. Marcia Lombardo was reelected treasurer, Shannon Mason reelected vice chair, and actually, it's not new, and Sam Colburn as chair.
Sounds familiar.
They were all reelected.
Okay.
So, and
Reelected.
here's some good news. There's been funding earmarked going, from the Baker administration going to include $50,000 for staffing and operations at Halibut Point. which
Great.
Wow.
for-
Is Ted still here? Ted Tar?
Too bad.
Oh, we'll have to let Ted know. Great.
Okay. And so all we have to do is write a letter asking for the funds, which I will. And then the last one is that, and I'm looking to see if you were, doesn't look like you were copied on this, so, this is an update on the, delivery of the new electrical substation that's to be installed. The substation was, delivered on 2 large flatbed trucks. It's making its, well, not delivered here yet, it's making its way through Connecticut and Rhode Island and into Massachusetts. So it's expected to make its way up Route 128 into Rockport late Wednesday. Oh, this is old. This
That's
is
old.
old.
Yep.
It's here.
That's all.
That was a quick trip.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't look at the date. Thank you.
Okay, great.
Just one thing, we were talking a little bit about, the Harbor Advisory Committee and GZA and,
Mhm.
Army Corps of Engineers, and since, Toby brought that up, I've decided that, I've been talking to a member of the Harbor Advisory Committee, and I made a note to call GZA directly, just to be sure. Cause they should be just reporting to us, but I just to be sure,
Okay.
so that's all of that.
I had a couple questions on the town administrator's report. On the procurement update, you talked about bidding out the Straitsmith Island ramp project. What is the housing needs assessment RFP?
That is a grant that, we've applied for and may get, but to do that, and it's for affordable it's the first step of affordable housing, to take a whole town-wide needs assessment.
And so we sent out RFPs, but we don't have the budget to pay for it yet?
We're,
I'm just trying to understand the process.
we didn't get a guarantee on that grant, did we? No. We're getting the magnitude of the price by doing this.
I see, okay. Okay, and then land use training, is that something that for the building inspector, planning board, and zoning board of appeals, is that something they requested?
It's something, remember the joint meetings that we had, and one thing that was on the future docket was to have a land use training for all of them.
Yeah, because some of the members are new,
Okay,
you
I
know,
got it.
or within the last year or so, and they
And
just
then who
need
conducts that training?
Copeland and Page.
They do, okay, so there is a cost, obviously, associated with.
No, they
It's
do it
not.
for free.
Oh, is
They
that
always
right?
do it for
Yes.
free.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd like to
A
go to
lawyer.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I'll make sure everybody knows.
We should
Okay,
all be
great.
invited, yeah.
Yeah. Yep, those were, oh, wait a minute, I had another question.
Go ahead, please.
Open action items, boardwalks across Saltmarsh?
Oh, that's a
Been
really
on there
old
forever.
item.
That's a very
Yeah.
I thought that was illegal to put boardwalks.
These are the little private ones that have been there for like
Oh, okay.
decades.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've been carrying that action item for
Okay,
decades
I won't
as
worry
well.
about it.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Something we just can't get to, and,
But
Okay.
you can't, like, in 2018, just build a boardwalk.
No, right.
No,
Okay.
right.
Okay, all right. Those were my questions. Thank you.
Any other questions in the town administrator's report? No?
No.
Okay. Moving on to the action list. First, we already completed the police officer appointment of Lorraine Wessel as a member of the Economic Development Committee. Is there a motion?
Yes, I move, ooh,
There you go.
Jeez.
wow. I move that the
You
Board of
guys
Selectmen appoint Lorraine
They
Wetzel
did.
as a
yeah.
member of the Economic
That's when we
Development
weren't here.
Committee for a term to expire on June
Was she
30th,
running late?
2018.
Second?
Motion has been made and seconded.
Oh, she was late.
And Lorraine came to the meeting in December, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't here at that meeting, but
was.
I
I
know
wasn't
Lorraine
either.
well, and I know that she would be an excellent member of the Economic Development.
Here, here.
Any further comments?
Mm-mm.
Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, we have approval of Personnel Board recommendation for Assistant Town Clerk salary adjustment. Is there a motion?
Yes, I move that the Board of Selectmen approve the Personnel Board recommendation for the Assistant Town Clerk salary adjustment from 45,239 to 51,000.
Second?
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion? Mitch, did you want to just comment on this?
Restaurant manager, the personal board received a request from the town clerk's office to evaluate the position of the assistant town clerk and chief of the certified municipal clerk designation. And, they reviewed that and felt it was worthy of an adjustment. And, that's what you have in front of you. They
Yep.
voted 4-0.
Okay.
Great, thank you. Any further comments from the board?
No?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, we have donation of a surplus truck and plow to the town of Sandusfield, Mass.
I
Selectman
move
Donnelly?
that the Board of Selectmen donate a surplus truck and plow to the town of Sandusfield, Mass.
Second?
Motion made, seconded. Comment?
Yes, where is
That
that?
was gonna be my question.
Is it in up 95?
Western Mass, isn't it?
is, I was gonna answer the
I think it's out in Western Mass.
I'm just dying to know where. it
So
is.
their DPW barn caught on fire, correct? And they
Oh, yeah,
lost
yeah,
like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of equipment.
Oh,
And
jeez.
so we had a surplus truck that our DPW thought would be nice to donate to
Yeah,
them.
that's awesome.
And I thought it was out in Western Mass. Yeah, Western Mass.
By Tolan?
Yeah, Berkshire County, yeah.
It's on the Connecticut border, it looks
Yeah.
like.
It's up near Bangor,
Paul. Any further comments?
way up.
No.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, we have the acceptance of the gift of art from the Institution for Savings. Is Karen here coming tonight for this? She's not, oh, we should have Karen and, oh, Monica? I'm here for the committee. Oh, you are? Okay, great. So we'll make the motion, and then if you want to speak on it, you're welcome to. Do you want to make the motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I move that the board gratefully accept a gift of art from the Institution for Savings entitled Triptych depicting theme of Rockport quarries, arts, and fishery industry by William Lester Stevens to be added to the town art collection.
Second?
Motion has been made and seconded. Monica, do you want to comment on it on behalf of the Town Art Committee?
Yes, it is.
Microphone?
Oh, sorry. It's not here yet. It's being cleaned?
Oh, it's here.
Oh, it is?
It's here. It's
Oh,
right
cool.
there,
Oh,
actually.
I thought it was being cleaned.
It is what we thought was a triptych, which means 3 separate pictures. However, it's not 3 separate pictures. It's one 10-foot solid plywood panel with canvas on it, with 3 pictures and seams painted on, weighing about 100 pounds.
And it's
Wow.
going to go
And
here.
it's going to go on this wall here. And the Institution for Savings, their workers had quite the time getting it off the wall. It was recessed into the wall at the bank, and it was quite a production to get it out of the wall into the truck and over here. And we had some fine help from Linda and Mitch and from the folks in DPW getting it all wrapped up safely and in storage until we can figure out how to hang it on that wall over there. The alarm has been moved, so we're making it ready, and we're going to do some painting and freshening up. But it will look wonderful on the wall. It's quite an impressive piece. We're very fortunate that the bank agreed to donate it to the town. Want to thank Mr. Campbell for his intervention efforts and helping that happen. And we would like to have a a grand unveiling.
Definitely.
When it is all in its new place with members of the Board of Selectmen and officials from the bank. I think the bank would like that very much, and it would be a great PR for all concerned. I've spoken with Mitch, and he's
Great.
agreed to help me once it's all signed, sealed, and delivered, and all on the wall, etc.
How long had that painting been at the bank, do we know?
We don't. It's decades.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably since the office was the branch was established there, because as I said, it was recessed into the wall. It's almost like that wall was made for that painting.
What year was the painting painted?
It's 1930s for sure.
30s, okay.
Yep.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and it's a very, very impressive piece. That 10-foot panel, you can't get 10-foot lengths of plywood, so it was made a special for that piece of canvas, and it's really, it's wonderful that the bank
Yeah.
agreed to leave it in Rockport, because it really would not be appropriate anywhere else.
No.
Yep.
No,
It's
that's
terrific.
I agree.
Good work.
Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you.
If I can.
Sure.
Thank you for recognizing, but this was an absolute team effort by a lot of people. A lot of people pulling in the same direction for this, and a big thank you, which a proper thank you will be later on, but to the bank for doing this. It's great to have this here, so thank you.
Great. I assume no further comment. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Great. Next, Conservation Commission release of funds. Is there a motion? It's K6.
I've got it. Yep. Madam Chair, I move that the board approve the Conservation Commission's request to withdraw $3,500 from the Conservation Fund to pay for items anticipated in the remainder of fiscal year 2018.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Further comment? It looks like these are administrative costs, Earth Day bags, trail markers, kiosk for Woodland Acres, and other office supplies. Great. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, we have a Conservation Commission letter of support to CPC.
I move that the Board of Selectmen sign a letter of support for the Conservation Commission's Community Preservation Project Funding application, asking for $100,000 to be added to the Conservation Trust Fund.
Second?
Motion has been made and seconded. Further comment? I assume this is just a general letter of support and not asking it, like, in competition with other CPC articles, right?
Right, it's just, we support
We
this,
support it. Okay,
so.
that's fine. Great. Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed nay. Motion carries. Great, moving on. 39 Long Beach, lease to reflect a change of address.
I move that the board approve and sign a lease for 39 Long Beach with Lee Hartwell Davis and Esmeralda Davis of 4514 East Rock Wren Road. You try saying that. Phoenix, Arizona, to reflect a change of address.
Great. Is there a second?
Second?
Motion has been made and seconded. Is anyone here for that? No. Looks like all is in order and it's routine. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, we have approval of the seasonal closure of Feather and Wedge as per alcohol regulations. Is there a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I move that the Board of Selectmen approve the seasonal closure of Feather and Wedge from March 12th, 2018 to April 10th, 2018 for a vacation break and to perform maintenance repairs before the summer season.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Further discussion?
Nope. It's part of the regulation.
That's it.
Yep. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Next, we have the annual population estimate for the ABCC. Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that the board estimate, hold on, that doesn't read correctly. That the board estimate the temporary increased resident population of Rockport as of July 10th, 2018 to be 13,000.
Okay.
Sorry.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Let's hope many of those are children. School-age children.
Because this is for our liquor license allotment.
The high school.
Hearing
That's
none.
funny.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion carries.
That's excellent.
Next, we have our discussion items. Is anyone here for anything besides the budget discussion? What are you here? Are you here for something specific? This, okay. Snow removal, okay. I don't think budget's gonna take that long tonight, do you? Okay,
No.
okay, we'll get to those shortly. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, the applicant for the bylaw committee is here now if you want to have a conversation with him.
Well, but I'd like to invite Bob. I think we should do it with
Yeah.
Bob, like when it's
Okay.
advertised, so
Okay.
people know. But welcome, Mr. Shaw. When Mr. Arsenian mentioned at the beginning that you're scheduled to meet with Bob Visnick, the town moderator, this week. So our normal, according to our bylaws, right? Applicants for unexpired, right, appointments only have to meet with the town moderator. Expired appointments have to meet with the town moderator, head of the finance committee, and head of the board of selectmen. As an informal part of the process, we also have applicants meet, just interview with the board of selectmen generally. So what we'd actually like to do is schedule, if you don't mind, you to come to our next meeting, just to chat with us, and we'll invite Bob in as well, if you don't mind, just as a chat to get to know you. Great. So we will get you on our next agenda, so we can advertise to the millions of people that are at home watching that we're gonna do that, so people can, submit questions, and then have you meet with Bob after that, if you don't mind.
So I'm still meeting with him this week.
I think we'll actually push that off until after you meet with us, because we should have scheduled that first. Exactly. Meet with us and then meet with Bob. Does that make sense?
Sure, and it's just at your next meeting.
Exactly. Yes, which is the
2 weeks.
2 weeks from tonight. 30th. Wow, goodness. 30th. So we will get you on that agenda. Okay? Thanks so much. And thanks so much for volunteering to step up for that committee. Thanks. Great. Okay, sorry for the aside. Budget.
So, Madam Chair, I know you've had a chance to look at this now. I'm wondering if, to expedite things, if the requested column and the town administrator's recommendations are the same, would you just like that in your column, or would you still like to make changes to your column?
Well, I personally just need anything highlighted that's different from the other night. Do people need anything else than that?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
So,
FinCom, I know there's several members of FinCom here. Does that make sense to you guys if we're just, things that are different from the other night get highlighted? I mean, I think we came to a consensus on most things, right? I mean,
Yeah,
in terms of
yeah.
our, right.
Yeah, I
okay.
agree.
So I'll stop at the first, oh, that line shouldn't be there, but that's all right. At the first change or difference between what was asked for.
Yeah, I mean, we spent so much time on it the other
Okay.
night. There's no
And
reason to go
this
through
is-
line by line again.
This is it. So
Okay. What line are you on?
I will copy this over.
Police overtime wages.
It's
Five,
permanent
five.
intermittent. Now, you know about these.
83
Right.
or 643.
But I just want to make sure that I bring your attention to everything there. So everything up until that point now is in your column.
Right.
Because it's what we agreed to informally at the budget meeting.
Yeah.
Got it.
You didn't
Okay.
vote on it or anything,
Yep.
but yeah.
Is that fine with everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just wanna make sure we talk about the money for the, grant writer.
Right, grant
I
writer.
wanna just get that, I
Yeah,
wanna make sure that's.
grant writer,
Okay,
harbor
yeah,
master,
y-
library. I want to make sure that we're just
Right.
clear on the things
You
that we.
requested that last time, so let me
Yes.
go up and show you where that is.
Great.
It's in purchase of services here. So
There it is.
Uh,
Perfect.
in this current year, we have, we're carrying $2,600 because we don't usually hire a lot of people. since it's your department, I put in the requested column what you asked for, which was, if you can see that, it's 20 hours times $50 an hour for $52
As a
weeks a year.
placeholder, right, and we might,
Yeah.
right,
So I agreed to it in my column,
okay,
and it's exactly that in your column.
great.
But what I just want to bring out, and I want it, so everybody knows, and it's publicly stated for, as Sarah said, the millions of voters at home, that we're committed to this, that we want a grant writer to look for these avenues in town to find us more money. So we're putting up and trying to make this a reality, and then this position could grow as it goes from there, because if we find great success with this, then that money can be jumped up and it'll be commensurate with, and there will be measurable goals and benchmarks that should be achieved with that, so it'll all be talked about.
We can save our spiel for town meeting.
Well, I just
'cause
wanted it
when-
out there, this is for the people who, right. That's
So-
fine, but it should be known up front.
So what was the next one you wanted to be sure was in there?
Well, I know that we had open-ended, I want to make sure library, that we're on the same.
Okay,
what
so
we had
that's,
wanted.
that's way down in the budget,
Okay,
so
and
let's
then
stop at the.
Harbor Masters, I know, we had some
Okay.
concerns. And then was there a difference in the police, or are we
Yeah,
good?
I think that's the first thing that's different
Okay.
in my recommended and what was requested.
It's so cold in here.
It
seriously.
is
I'm gonna,
very
I'm gonna
cold.
bring my space heaters next week, remind me.
Madam Chair, we can put that on, it'll be a little noisy.
No,
but-
that's all
No,
right, it's,
can't
that
hear.
thing is so
Okay,
rock
so-
bottom. I'll bring my space heaters back.
This is the first line that, where my recommendation is $23,805 less than the requested amount for permanent intermittent officers. It was discussed at the last meeting that the chief asked for 4. I asked if he'd consider 2. He would, but it's wide open for you,
Yeah.
for the board to put in. You tell me what you want in there.
I mean, personally, my suggestion would be if the chief agreed to 2, then I'm fine with putting the 78,000 in ours, but I know usually we send a budget message to FinCom with our budget, with priorities for if they're able to do more, if we're able to do more than what's in the budget, and that would be listed under the priorities for me, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
It does.
Because the chief clearly went out of his way to put that in his budget request, so I would like that included in things that would get put back in if we're able to put things back in. Does that make sense to people?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So for now, we'll put in the 78 and then get that in the budget message. So the next thing that's, whoops.
We kind of talk at this meeting as if we're never gonna see the FinCom again, even though.
You know where to find us.
Okay, so I guess.
And you know where to find us.
So it's this $1,600 difference in engineering expense. I thought there was another a difference in the police department.
I think
Wasn't
that
there?
was it for police.
Oh, okay.
Chief,
Okay.
was that it? I think that was our only difference. I think that was it. You can just double check before you
make it a
send
little
it to
bit
them,
bigger?
but it should be, that
Yeah,
should be
just
the
a
only
minute, just a
difference.
Let me catch this to be sure that there was no other change there. No, there wasn't another change in the police department. Okay, so I will make this a little bigger so that people can see it.
Oh, much better.
At least I don't have that infrared mouse that the cursor was jumping all over the place. I've got a wired mouse this time. So,
101.
so it's a little too big for me to.
That, all of those cells are the same, except for the 7 now.
Okay, so. Sorry. So the next difference between my recommendation and the requester was in the fire department.
Yep.
For $1,600 in engineering expense. And you'll see from my note there that it's because the firefighters' physical exam fees have increased.
Okay.
So I'm recommending it go up $1,600.
That's fine. I'm just trying to move through this quickly. If anyone wants to slow down
No,
on
that's
anything,
good.
but I'm just gonna keep us moving.
You're okay with mine or the
Yep,
requested?
I'm fine with yours.
Okay.
Clearly, our firefighters need to have their
Examining.
physical exams.
Okay. So now there's
So
nothing.
Chief Horvath, I think we're all set. We're good on yours. Great.
Now there's nothing until. Oh.
I think I saw shellfish, yeah.
Went by the harbor masters.
there.
Yep.
3,000? Right there.
There it is. Okay, so here's what I did here. The harbor masters, if you recall, wanted more money for their personal vehicles. And instead of doing that, I put in a line that is how we legally give people money for their
Gas.
gas and mileage if they're not going out of town, and that's with an auto allowance. This is what we do for the building inspector, for instance. He gets an auto allowance for the whole year. If it fits in there, fine. If it doesn't, that's it. So.
Great.
Yep.
Yep, and then in terms of all of the damage and stuff, we're gonna deal with that separately. All the
Yes.
storm damage and all that, because clearly there was some confusion, but that's not part of that shouldn't be part of their operating budget.
No.
Right.
As a matter of fact, we're getting offers from the state and feds to
Right.
help with all that, so.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so.
I also think we might need some higher level engineering to look at the wharves. And,
Okay.
yeah, but that's all storm related.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now the next thing, okay, so here's the other end of the harbor masters that wanted more money here. I took it out.
Great. Because
So-
you gave them the auto allowance.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Was there one above that, Linda? There might have been one above that.
Where's that?
Just above this.
And just so we know, how does
That's
how does
the
an auto
3,000.
allowance
Okay.
work? It's like
Oh,
a
okay,
clothing
that's the
allowance?
3,000. Okay.
Yeah. Is that what you were looking for?
I
Mary?
was. yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now, this blue is schools. We don't estimate anything for schools. Rob does all that work, thank goodness. So now we're going down to the next change, and let me copy this over in your line, so if you're good with all that.
Yep.
Where did I start? Right there. This cursor still wants to jump a little, but not as badly as before. That's what I took out of the harbor masters. I stopped at something that was different.
$400. Right there.
Okay. Clothing allowance, okay, so, this is in DPW, they requested $305, and, I recommend adding 400 to that, because I don't think they'll be able to cover.
For what?
Oh, that's right. It's because I moved this is a result of moving the library custodian over there.
Right,
Oh.
got it, got it, okay, fine,
And this is as well,
okay.
Yep.
Great,
this
Okay.
is adding the
library custodian
custodian
wages.
wages.
Got it, okay.
So do the selectmen agree with that?
Yep,
Yep.
Okay. And did I go too far? No, not in wages, no, down in expenses, you'll see. The rest of the library here.
yep, great,
Is that still okay with you?
yep,
And the budget hasn't been raised. It's just been
yep, that's
shuffled.
moved. Yep, I
Whoops.
just wanna make sure that we still kept the materials
Mm.
money, that's what we were going back and forth with,
Yep.
right? That we still kept them, even though we moved those
Yep.
out, we still kept the materials budget? Okay.
I will show you that as soon as we get there. It's, this library was, for the supplies. You see my note there?
Yep,
Are you all right, okay with any of that?
yep,
Okay, so let me go back and get this in, copied over wherever it started, which is there. Okay. Yeah, this is going much faster than before. But I think, we had pretty lengthy discussions about it. Okay, graffiti removal. Oh, no, I mean, sorry, this is the library line. Graffiti, there's no difference in the graffiti removal. Okay, no difference down until the library. So here's what we have. Let me go back and get this copied. Your budget's being done faster than any of the other columns because of, I guess, the pre-work here. Okay. Oops. So here is where
Yep.
I moved them to DPW.
okay,
Now, on the materials, you note that I suggested a decrease, but your column keeps it the same.
great. And
Okay.
I think that's what we wanted, right? Okay, great.
Let me just catch everything above that.
May I make a comment?
Sure.
Is that, okay, when I went back and reviewed the budget once again, I kind of reworked all the numbers, and I really appreciate you taking the time and your suggestion to add more for the materials. And I so wanted to go through, now that we knew we were taking the building costs out, and rework all of the expenses, making sure every dollar was accounted for. And I did find one benefit, oh, thank you, with having the custodian out of our budget. One thing that I'm able to do that I wasn't able to do before is put our non-union clothing allowance in with the actual line items where the people get paid out of. Now that I'm not managing two different
Okay.
types of clothing allowance.
Okay.
We have non-union clothing allowance?
Yeah, the non-clothing allowance. It's the union non-clothing allowance, the $2.75
The clerical
a week.
amount in lieu of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I know, which we always kind of kept separate because the rest of the staff had it separate.
Okay,
So I'd like to request to make an adjustment, just to again true up those line items.
okay.
Excuse me, but that goes into base pay instead of a benefit? You want to change that to pay rather than a benefit?
It is added to every paycheck that we put out. The $2 and
They get it
75
in the
cents.
paycheck, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a benefit, not a wage.
Right, but it's part. So we had it broken out, but I'd like to. We do pay them out of that one account. We do pay the.
I see what you're saying.
So in order to limit the number of transfers again, and now that we have it all together, it would be great to have everything where it should be.
Okay.
And I think that being able to pay everybody out of one line item
Okay.
would be really helpful.
Okay.
And I've
So
talked to the
which-
trustees about that. And
Which line item?
So I can give
You can just tell me.
sure. So the
Greater than 20 hours?
greater than 20 hours is 148,508.
Selectman, would you like to use the library
That's-
director's number?
I'm fine with that. Are you?
Yeah.
Yep,
I can give
fine.
you copies of
It's fine. Just you can just.
148,
508,
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
okay.
52. The next one is 52782. Next is 9918.
What?
For which one? I'm sorry, your line is not matching. Yours is the
Pages. Yeah.
Okay, that's not good.
Okay, the first one you said was for the greater than 20.
Yeah, no, that's what
Well, we pulled the administrative assistant out. Is that what's different?
So since we have.
No, that's right. With
Okay.
those two there.
So the administrative assistant, you didn't change that. Is that true? The adm-
Right, I did not. That's right. I have that separated out on here.
With no clothing allowance in there?
Now it has, yes, now it has the clothing allowance.
Okay, what is that number?
Sorry. That is 39023.
Okay.
Yeah, and the pages, that isn't correct, so it should be 9918.
How did that get in your requested column, I wonder?
I know that's what I have.
I have no comment in that one.
Yeah.
So you believe you really requested 9918?
Yeah, that's what I have on my spreadsheet, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, let's fix that. We have to go back to soft right to,
That didn't fix in our column, Linda.
no, it didn't. I know. I'm gonna copy it in a minute. I'm not gonna type it, all three. Okay.
Next is the vacation substitute line, which will be 18,197.
Vacation substitutes. Wow. You're making up for that, that one you're taking down. Selectmen okay with this?
Yeah. So why is that one going up so much?
It's shifting around where we're paying certain buckets out of.
Okay.
So it actually, in the end, I've been able to save $3.
Okay. Okay.
So,
But
then
then
I actually was able to cut $3 out of it. but
Okay.
I tried to do more. I had
Got it.
meetings with
Okay.
several staff, but
Got it.
You want to see it in there and see how?
Just put it in. It's
Oh,
fine.
okay.
Right.
So repeat that number again?
18,197.
You have one more labor line?
Yep, the in-service training,
Yep.
which is $8,964.
Okay.
Okay.
Got
You-
it.
Yep, $3
Got it.
difference.
$3. Awesome.
Okay.
Hey, we'll take it. $3.
We like it.
Nice job.
More than that, but
It's okay. Nice job. $3 is better than no dollars, right? Okay. that make sense? Everybody good with
Yep.
that?
Yep.
Perfect, okay. Can
Now-
we just quickly run down and see if there's anything else that we're different, that we had a difference?
Okay, so these differences are the custodial supplies,
Yep.
okay? Okay, what are these? They were removed, oh, it's the elevator,
Okay.
contract and
Yep.
stuff. They're in DPW now. You okay with that?
Yep.
Okay,
We're okay with anything removed, we can just skip over those.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, I think we're coming to one big one that we didn't get to last time. Actually, this is one that we added, and I'll make sure you want to do that. I think you do.
What is it?
It's we added 120,000 in the temporary note payment for the capital technology program.
Oh, got it, right, we talked about that one at the meeting, yep.
What's the corresponding row number?
In the spreadsheet or on the side on the numbers?
In the spreadsheet.
The spreadsheet row is 2573. Okay, so, would you like this in your column?
Yes.
Okay. Now,
Will you just remind me offline for you to explain to me how that was confusing last week, thanks. But clearly, it has to be paid.
we're almost to the bottom, but I've got a very big difference here that you really might want to think about that we didn't get to during the workshop. But you may have noticed it on your worksheets. So that's the principle on the notes, that those are short-term pay it right off. Debt and interest, there's no changes. I agreed with whatever it was. These are the totals. Retirement fund,
So had Carrie not put any numbers in?
yeah, she did.
Okay.
So did you get the renewals in for health?
No,
So what's the 29,000 is not gonna be adequate, is it?
well, this is what she requested,
Which is,
and this is what I added because you agreed to add a full-time police officer. And the benefits associated with that would be about 29,000. That's why I added that.
29,000?
for health insurance? For what? Is he individual or family?
I'm assuming a family.
It's 29,000?
That's huge.
Really? Yeah, I didn't. Is that the number we planned for every? Is that the
No,
number?
that's high, that's very high.
That seems really high to me. I mean, even in my, the company I work at, 29 is not the number we use. Is that the number we?
Using 22 roughly,
Okay,
but that's last year's rates.
okay.
I just wanted to be sure there was enough, but I'll
Okay.
put whatever number you
No,
want in
I
here.
I guess, it doesn't matter. It is what it is. Like, it doesn't.
Well, I don't know what it really is.
Yeah, okay.
Do you
So
wanna-
Carrie put in the 4 million.
She put in this
3.
one.
Okay,
And I said, okay, we're gonna have a full-time police officer and we better have a little spare. That's,
okay. Got it.
that okay?
Okay, yep. Okay.
Okay, now here comes the big one. I increased our reserve for OPEB by $191 and $191,000. And the reason being is that I think we can absorb it in this budget and then just carry it. And if we can keep to about $250,000 every year, it will only take us like 9.5 years to get pretty near what we need to be. I don't know what the finance committee's gonna do with that, or.
So what does that do with with the bottom, with the?
It fits. It fits, I'll show you.
Okay. Wally,
But
do you wanna
Linda,
make
the
it-
number is different in the spreadsheet we
Yes.
have. Okay.
It was 225, I just made it.
We have a meeting with our actuary on Thursday afternoon.
Has nothing to do with what I estimated.
Anyway, just to say what the finance committee's gonna do, the answer is we don't know.
Right.
But we're really starting the process with that meeting.
Okay.
But this is,
Anybody here is invited to. It's not a public meeting, because we only have 3 finance committee people there, but.
Is it a call or a meeting?
Pardon me?
Is it in person or a call?
Yeah,
In person?
this is my recommended suggestion for OPEB that gets, if we can carry that and transfer that much into the trust fund every year, it will help tremendously.
Do we know what other other towns are doing?
Cities and towns, very often they're trying to match take anything left over from their health insurance because it's a health insurance type item. We can't really do that. We certainly can't come up with that much every year to do that. And another thing is sometimes they use free cash. We barely can purchase some capital with our free cash.
So I'm all for funding this liability. I guess I'm just wondering how you decided to prioritize this
Right, as opposed.
over other expenditures.
We were really tight and easy with the other expenditures. If you notice in my draft budget message, we've got some things that are out of whack because we haven't been keeping up with them, and that's market labor rates and infrastructure repairs. And OPEB is the other one.
Yeah, this just, yeah, I don't know, I feel like now I have to think about this. I'm just feeling like this is just a huge number when
It is.
when we're like scrimping on some capital stuff that, I don't know.
$3 at the library.
Literally,
Saving
$3 at the library, we're cutting police, you know what I mean, over
Yeah.
paying this, being able to make a dent in this in nine years as opposed to, I don't know, have you guys done any numbers with like drawing this out over, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? I'd love to see that.
I think it's a little early for us to comment on that, because we
Yeah.
have this important meeting coming up on
Okay.
Thursday.
Yeah.
And we sent out a long list of questions and
Okay.
requests for analysis.
Yeah. What time's the meeting? Do you know?
2 o'clock.
Okay.
We think it's gonna last for a couple hours, and it's gonna be right here.
Okay.
Madam Chairman, could you tell us what the total obligation is?
What is I don't remember what the total liability is. It's huge. Yeah.
It's enormous. Yeah.
35 million.
I used 34 million to
It's
calculate
huge.
that.
It's enormous. So,
And if we don't start chipping away at it a little more than 58,000 or whatever we
Yeah,
have in
no, I'm all
free
in
cash.
favor of.
I get it. I just,
Funding it,
yeah, I'm just having trouble like swallowing that versus saying, it is what it is.
Do you want something else in there?
No, I don't. I honestly, I think we need a bigger
Let's-
picture. I
let's
think
get-
we need to see.
Yep.
We'll be able to do that, I think we'll do that and be able to make a presentation on it when we get done with this. And
Okay.
we might even need a follow-up meeting as
W-
Yeah.
They only have one more meeting
Okay.
before I have to send it to
If we
you.
have to meet in, if we have to meet in between, we have to, if we have to increase the meetings, we have to. It is what it is. I don't. Right. I mean,
Do you want 0 there or any number there, or what, how would you like to put that as, what do you want to use as a placeholder?
Where did the recommended amount come from? The finance committee?
No, me.
Oh, the original.
It's the town of,
no, the 58.
The
Who put the
58.
58 in there?
I think it was the normal cost that was calculated by the finance committee, and I agreed with it.
That was from FY8.
Yeah.
So I would say let's put the 58 in there until we have a better understanding of the liability. And I'm especially interested in the question about the discount rate that they applied. So let's see what you hear on Thursday. I'm sorry I can't be there.
Yeah, I don't wanna make any comments now.
Yeah, you're not, right, and you're not the whole, of course. Yeah, I mean, I also think we need to kind of decide together as a town, like, you know, if we are going to decide on an
aggressive,
amount
yeah.
and consistently put the same amount in every year, or if we wanna be aggressive, you know, if at some point we wanna be aggressive, but that number to me is clearly aggressive, I would assume, right, compared to what
If
did
we
put
can
in last
absorb
time?
it, it will stay the same number.
Right, but absorb it, we have to make the decision if we're gonna absorb it and not do capital and, you know, and be conservative with other operating.
Well,
the same
typically,
time.
we're not being too conservative with operating, but typically we don't use operating funds for capital.
Right, right, but not saying, I don't think that's accurate to say that we're not being conservative with operating. What were the guidelines that we gave departments?
2%
For labor.
expenses.
Right.
No, they don't do
2% for
labor.
expenses, right, and
You
nothing on
dictate
labor,
labor.
right. So I think that's, my guess is that's pretty conservative, I would say.
Okay.
Which that's what I think we've decided to be, right? I just think it's interesting, I just think this opens up more conversation.
Sure.
Also, can we sustain that number is
If it gets in one budget, without a balanced budget, and if it's not too conservative,
Does the size of that liability affect our bond rating or anything?
it goes on our balance sheet,
Yeah.
which is why I'd really like to do everything we can to not carry that
I mean,
that
but are
30.
we, is there like a
6
break
million.
point where if it gets to 35 million or whatever the next break point is? I mean,
Right, and how does it compare to other cities and
well,
towns our
everybody's
size?
underfunded.
Right, but in terms of,
Yeah.
are all of our bond ratings affected equally
Equally,
because of
yeah.
it? You know, or how does it, like, is it affecting our bond rating at all? I don't know.
Well, yeah, sure, the question is how much
Right,
and what do you have to do to fix it?
Right.
What's the cost of it?
right.
Right.
It's so much to.
It's a big conversation, I think,
is.
to have.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, and if chipping away at it at 58 a year, does the trick for now and
So it's
keeps
like
our,
chipping
I
away.
think we just have this, just decisions we have to make.
I guarantee that doesn't do the trick, but but that's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What is this number that I didn't carry? Oh, it's just the total. So this one is, the next one is, was estimated by the treasurer, and I agreed with it, and would you like that in for FICA?
So this has to be handed to them tonight, or can we
No,
discuss it
no,
at one
the-
more meeting? 'Cause
You
I'd
get
love
to
to get-
approve it on the 30th. It
Okay.
has to go there the 31st.
Okay.
So the very next day.
Yeah. Just because I'd love to chat with Carrie about some of this as well. And is there a chance that she'll have better insurance numbers by then?
Probably not yet.
Okay.
When do we expect the renewal on the health insurance?
February, March, somewhere in there.
Oh.
It's usually when it comes.
Oh,
Okay.
It usually has to happen once this is in the finance committee's
Okay.
hands. I mean, the budget doesn't go away now, it's still
Yeah.
in somebody's hands.
So we're not voting on this tonight?
No, unless you're very
No.
sure of.
No, I'd rather not.
Yeah. Well, you have to vote on it at your next meeting.
Right.
That's all.
I mean, I'm gonna try to, we're not gonna say it on TV, but I'm gonna try to sneak out of work to come to Thursday's meeting.
Okay, so no changes. I'm recommending the same as what was requested for the insurance expenses.
Okay.
That's okay? I think that's, yeah, that's down to the end. Let me get that over here. Now, for the school assessment, what I used was not what Rob used. He assumed that the insurance would be greater than 5%, so he kept his, no, wait a minute. He assumed that, yeah, he assumed that it would be greater and took, and reduced his assessment. I'm using the higher number for the school assessment, just for budgeting purposes, just to make sure there's enough in the budget and we can balance it. So when we look at the school, which is, this looks like the school number. Yeah. So this, I thought I put a note in here somewhere, comment. I guess it's not on that line. Maybe it's farther down. No. Is Rob here?
Mm-hmm.
Rob, what is your higher of, oh, here it is. Here's the note I put. So if health insurance is greater than 5%, it will be the 11,894,277. Otherwise, it'll be the 11,632,739. I'm using the this number to be sure, to be conservative and be sure that we have enough to balance. And I don't know what you prefer to use. Oh, my goodness, why didn't I? Oh, because it's a combination number.
What was Carrie using for the increase? I don't know.
8%, looks like 4 million to 4.3.
So, what would you, the selectmen like in their column, the 11,632,000 or the 11,894,000?
Can you explain that one more time, because I found that very confusing. So, what did you just?
If health
higher of the
insurance
two
increase
estimates.
comes in greater than 5%, the school assessment will pick that,
Pick up
will
the
be
difference.
higher.
Yep.
Rob had his hand up.
I have this year's assessment. The present operating budget is 11,371,201. And if you go 2.3 on that, which is the max you can get if insurance isn't over 5%, that's the 11,632,798.61.
Got it.
And
Anything higher in insurance chips away at that. And the figure I'd used in the budget was as if it was an 8% increase,
mhm.
which would have been a reduction from 11,632,738 down to 11,531,140. So I think the max base increase that can be generated in the model is 11,632,738. 739. So you round up
Yeah, which is what we have.
Which is what's there, yeah.
30-some cents. Being put someplace.
Added to the $3 that
Add it to the $3. Four.
They're working their way to a Starbucks.
And that number's wrong, Linda. That number's wrong.
That's right.
So that's my figure for whatever.
What, it's wrong?
11,632,739.
Yeah, that's right.
739?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, sorry, okay.
So is that what you want in your
Okay,
column?
okay,
Yep.
I was looking for
Yes.
the pennies.
Come on.
Okay.
All right, so,
My head is starting to hurt.
that takes us down to the very last part of the budget, which is the two enterprises. There's nothing you can do about the state assessments. The water enterprise, basically, it's pretty much what, level funded for this year, because we didn't have anybody touch the labor, because we have labor reserves. And the expenses, didn't go up more than 2%. So the bottom line there with the debt and the transfers out comes to $1,872,924.
Okay.
And that, as you as you probably know, is what we have to raise in revenues. So on the revenue side of it, there it is.
Good.
So the bottom is zero, the bottom line is zero, no matter what. Same with the sewer.
And that's different from what we got, right? The number?
I don't know that I had this done by the workshop, the enterprises, did I?
In the packet, and the number I'm looking at in the packet is different.
Really, I don't think I touched this since the packet. What number do you have for water?
1,769,843.
Maybe Linda can just, when she's done tonight,
Yeah.
resend it to us, so
Yeah,
we have
that'd
the,
be
what
great.
we did tonight. That way, what we had in our packet
Yeah,
Yep,
doesn't matter.
Yeah, we'll just add separate.
Yeah.
yep, that'd be great.
okay. And the sewer's the same thing. Do you want to, and I'm not doing community preservation fund for the.
Yep.
Do you want, well, I'll send it to you, you'll have 2
Great.
weeks.
Perfect. Great.
Okay.
Good.
So, that, is that what you want to see and
For now,
ruminate
yes.
on? So
I
it's
think-
only one number that you're really concerned with, and that's OPEB?
Well, yeah, I think everyone can take it, if you can just resend it to us fresh, then we can all take a look at it and make any final comments.
Sure.
Okay.
Before next meeting, does that make sense?
Yep.
Perfect.
Great. Toby,
you.
question?
Yes, two, on the enterprise funds, the revenue covers, what you're spending. Does that assume the same rates, or does that assume additional, charges?
The rates are derived from,
From the amount, right.
yeah,
So that's up to the DPW, that's math the DPW commissioners do, that's not in our spreadsheet.
Purview.
That's a question for tomorrow night's meeting.
Okay, and on the DPW, the $40,000 additional for the transfer station that you had doubts about, does that assume that they're going up?
What do you
on the-
mean we have doubts, who has doubts about it?
You expressed doubts about it at the budget workshop meeting.
I have doubts about actually the whole DPW budget. So just to be clear, I just find, that's another topic, but,
Oh, yeah, the revenues.
yeah, I find the revenues seem to be, I would just be surprised if we actually,
It's
if
like,
the
wow,
re-
we made
the
that much
revenues-
more on
exactly.
bags, yeah.
yeah,
a lot.
and the expenses, I just, the whole thing kind of worries me, but
yeah.
But
So
that will work itself out.
it
so.
will work itself out, and what you see is when you look at, remember, there was $33,000, I think, last time in deficit. Wait, how come that looks like that? Something's wrong there.
Okay,
What
but
did
you'll
Oh,
make sure the numbers
this,
match. and send it to
I
us.
removed the school number from, I was looking it up in the, you wanna, no, this is important for you to see right now, because, I don't know why I took it out. Oh, I moved the cell that it was looking at.
Okay.
I'll just put that number in right now, and so we'll see. So, and I'll fix the cells later. So you'll see now that you're no longer $33,000 in deficit. But that's with the additional solid waste stuff. So you don't want to go too close to zero if we're not really believing it. I don't know. I made a note on the revenues when he said that. I said, okay, but these notes here. It was 345 on the recap. We took it up. This was 37, you know, so there are notes here that in case it doesn't come in, we still have enough to balance the budget, at least to give it to the finance committee. So we're not giving them a mess to start with.
Okay. Great. Okay. Any questions at this point? So we will absorb any comments before our next meeting, ready to hand it off to you guys on the 31st. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Linda, for all your work on this. Okay, moving on. Capital, can we,
That didn't change at all.
Okay.
If you were okay with that, if not, I'll make changes right now.
no, let's leave it for tonight, and then the
Okay.
budget message we'll do the next meeting.
It wasn't in your packet? I thought I,
No, I mean, we'll discuss
we'll
if we have
discuss it.
changes at the next meeting.
oh, right.
Once we look at this, is that okay?
Yeah, now, the one thing that I neglected to put on there was the OPEB, whole thing in the budget message, so,
Okay, okay.
okay.
Let's move workshop meeting schedule to the end. Next, we have sidewalks on Nugent Stretch. I know somebody was here for that? Do you want to make a comment? Sure.
Speaking on behalf of the bicycle group that was working under the planning board, we have issued a map you've probably seen for the routes
Yeah.
around town. The early stages of that were really directed at trying to get a connection between Rockport and Gloucester.
Hold on one second. Do you guys mind just stepping outside and chatting and then coming back in? Thanks. You don't realize even when you whisper in this, the acoustics are so amazing in here. We can hear everything. Go ahead,
Carnegie
sorry.
Hall.
So the two ideas to create a link between Rockport and Gloucester were either down Nugent Stretch, which at that point we didn't think was possible, or maybe it is now. And the other thought we had was to use the fire road that runs from Beach Road Cemetery out to 127 near Common Crow.
Oh, yeah.
And the combination of those two is very strong. It basically makes a network where you can get from the cemetery or everything downtown over to 127, either into Gloucester or back up to the railroad station. It's a very powerful network connection, and I think it'd be highly useful to have that as part of a bicycle network.
Okay.
It's not just for pedestrians.
So you'd be going through the woods from basically the cemetery to
Yes.
the Common Crow?
Yes.
Would you be redoing the roads or?
Most of that is already improved for access to the pumping plant.
Yeah,
There's a portion of it that is not improved for motor vehicles, but it's fine for bicycles. There
Yeah.
might be a couple humps that you might need to take a couple
so there wouldn't be a
off.
lot of work to go?
No,
Good.
not a lot of work.
Okay.
Good.
Cool. I mean, there was interest started by others also on Facebook, social media about the Nugent Stretch sidewalks. I'm happy to just invite, we actually need to meet, I'd love to meet with Senator Tarr on a bunch of issues, so I'd love to
I actually
just.
have that on here that I was good.
Just invite him in and have that on, have him in maybe I don't think it needs, we can do it at a workshop. We could tag him on to a workshop meeting and just kind of invite him in, make a little list of things that we want to talk about. And, you know,
Is it,
add that to the list.
are we gonna run into any issues with, if we did put a sidewalk on Nugent Stretch, with, conservation?
Well, there are vernal pools
Yeah,
there,
I'm
so
wondering.
that's.
There's a lot of issues.
I have a feeling that there are a lot of issues, but it's one of those things where people
We gotta
mentioned
look at
it, people are interested. I'm happy to like kind of avoid all the noise and just invite him in here and have a direct conversation about it.
Well,
I
that
think that's
was-
the easiest.
That was one of the things that I was thinking of, because we had said a while back that we wanted to invite them in on a more regular basis to see what we could do to engage Bruce and Ann Margaret
Yeah.
more in the goings on in Rockport. So the idea that I had was to perhaps come up with a bullet pointed list of maybe 2 or 3 things that we'd like, that we think would be in their wheelhouse that they could help us with, this
Yeah,
being one
just
of
have
them. And do that, that way they have advance notice of what they're going to come in for.
Yeah.
And then include also as a general part of the conversation is, how can we get more involved and involve them in our town? So, just my thought.
I do remember
That at our
back in
next
the
meeting.
late nineties, when they put the sidewalk used to end at, right before Marmion Way, I think the first part of Marmion Way, and then they just extended it all the way to the entrance into Cape Edge Beach. So, I mean, it made a huge difference for runners, for
Yeah.
people walking from, you know, the south end downtown town. So but that would be, where does I think the sidewalk ends at Grand Savings Bank, probably? No, it goes
Yeah.
down a
Comes
hill.
down a
Go
little
down
bit.
a tiny
But that's, Tom presented something he looked at it in a different way. I was thinking of, you come down Nugent Stretch, go up Witham Street, and then come back up and kind of a loop that way. But that's another really interesting way to come around through the woods. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think the idea
Yeah.
may have come up when they just paved 127, because part of it was
Right.
paving 127, installation of, or Nugent Stretch, installation of sidewalks, because I
Yeah.
saw that and I was like, what, you know, so maybe that put the idea in people's
In
heads.
people's heads.
Because I
Yeah.
thought that would be terrific.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so why don't at our next meeting, we'll put on the agenda, and between now and then, think of topics
Just
to
a
bring up
couple
with
of-
them, and in the
Right.
meantime, we can try to get it, we'll try to get that
Something to look at,
scheduled.
definitely, that'd be great.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, I mean, it would be awesome.
Yeah.
Totally.
Sure.
Toby, question?
Madam Chairman, if you're going to have the Honorable Tara and Ferranti in, I would think it would be advisable, and they would be much happier if it were a regular meeting and it would all be on tape.
Yeah, is it? Or a
Isn't
workshop?
Isn't that what it is?
They like to be famous, you know.
Oh, because it's a workshop, we don't tape it.
We can make sure it's a night that's taped, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Good.
Great, so we'll make sure, obviously, that you guys know that date when we have them in, but happy to work on it. Yeah.
Madam Chair, I'm trying to recall, I've been in a few meetings with Senator Tyra and Rep. Ferrante about sidewalks.
That's Granite Street. It's
Yeah, that's out
similar
towards
issue.
Halibut.
Yeah, I mean, similar challenge, money, it came down to money, but
Okay.
you know, and we'll see what happens. You know, money's always changing. We saw tonight that there's now $50,000 for Halibut Point, so.
Yeah, I think
You know, who
Eliza was
knows?
spearheading that, trying to get a sidewalk out.
Yeah, there's some people up on Granite Street that have been pushing really hard, and, you know, this is one of those things that I'm happy to push for it. I mean, unfortunately, you know, it's not in the town budget, and it's, you know, and it's state, highway right there,
roadway.
but we're happy to work
No, the
for
state-
it and see what's
yep.
possible.
Yep. But whoever, someone correctly pointed out, I do see people walking the opposite, coming
Yeah, and
into
the same
town.
on Granite, you know, my sister lives way out there on Granite Street,
Yeah.
and it's, you know, people with baby carriages, it's dangerous.
Where does it
Both-
stop there? At Old Farm Inn?
It stops at I think it stops at
Phillips,
Phillips.
okay.
Yeah,
And then
Even
tie into
maybe-
complete streets as well,
yeah,
if that money's there,
Yeah.
so maybe there might be some.
yeah, I mean, it would be, you know, it would be amazing to have, you know, you
Mhm.
see runners, people with babies, bikers, you know.
Sidewalks in both ends.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Mm.
Okay, so we'll throw that on
Good.
scheduling that.
Sidewalks.
Speaking of sidewalks, the chief wasn't staying here for that?
I can address that.
Great.
The chief, Joe Parisi, and I had a meeting this past week about enforcement, and certainly that was an issue this last storm with people not clearing their sidewalks. We discussed the need for a PR campaign to really push that information out there, so that's going to be the next step. Reminding people, and in some cases informing for the first time, hey, you're responsible for doing the sidewalk. Certainly great that DPW gets to most of them, but you need to, within a reasonable time, as the bylaw states,
It's
get your
funny.
sidewalk cleared.
Yeah, people get lazy, and I mean, I now see people online being like complaining that they haven't done.
Yes, so we're
Yeah.
going to try to recalibrate
Yeah, I'm
the
happy
expectation
help
to
with
what it
that
needs
too,
to be.
on social media.
And that's
Yeah.
that's the plan. We would push that information out.
Yeah.
We discussed enforcement of that, and the chief
you.
feels it would be appropriate to stay in the police department. There was some discussion about possibly shifting that somewhere else, but
Let's not do
he
that.
feels that it's fine in his department, and he'll
agree.
set up internal procedures for giving a warning and a notice. And frankly, first one is knock on the door. Hey, you need to get your sidewalk shoveled.
Yeah.
And then it would move from there with fines if there was an issue.
Oh, so we can find if people
Yes.
repeated.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So
There could be some people that just didn't realize that they didn't do it or something.
Well,
So the
I-
first time, but the second time is.
Right, well, you're limited to $10 an offense under the statute. So,
yeah, I'm not
but
sure.
anyway, I think that would create more problems in and of itself. Now, we have a sidewalk plow that we're leasing now, and the Capital Improvement Budget Committee's recommended that we buy a sidewalk plow. So is there a reason why the DPW can't step up?
They're
They
moving
they
as
can't
fast
get
as
it
they
all
can.
done.
We
They
can't get to it.
they
It's
literally
taking
But
a
how do you
week to get through.
prioritize?
Right.
You know, what do you say they do and what they don't do?
I don't
Obviously,
know
we
why
s-
other cities and towns can get to all of their sidewalks.
They
and
don't.
ours can't.
Boston, you have 3 hours.
Well, that's
from
Boston. I mean, but other smaller cities and towns I've been through, and their sidewalks are plowed. So I think the conversation needs to be had about that. Secondly, there's a lot of elderly people in this town, so how are they supposed to get out and shovel their sidewalks? Thirdly,
Good
my
point.
sidewalk, I snow blowed 3 times the last time. The DPW came back and plowed it right back in again. So, I mean,
Because you pissed them off.
there's issues here. Not just saying people get out and do it. Some people are trying to do it. Now, I walk my dog every day. It's very difficult to have to go in the street, go on the sidewalk, go in the street, so there is a problem.
Mhm.
But I don't think, fines arbitrarily, without knowing circumstances, is the right way to address it.
Sure, and that wouldn't be the case.
Okay.
You would not be fined immediately out of the gate. It would be within, certainly you get a warning, you get a knock on the door, the first case, hey, the storm ended, you do need to take this, you need to address this.
I think what I'm saying is we need to get the DPW to maybe step it up a little with their sidewalk plow as well.
I think they are like they're
I
absolutely
never
maxed
see
out.
it.
So
I live
it's-
downtown, I
I
never
see it everywhere.
I see it all the
See it
time.
all the time.
I see it all the time.
Yeah, we have
one plow.
We have approximately 20 people dedicated to snow removal.
And
After every process, the machine goes down the sidewalk, the machine goes down the sidewalk, and we have
have a
a
truck
fleet of
next to it.
trucks,
Right.
so that it's perpetually
No,
moving.
that's when it's removed off and put into a dump truck and taken away.
And that's it, that's what they do, there isn't,
Well, where's the
doesn't-
plow that actually goes down the sidewalk?
there isn't one that goes down the sidewalk. They snow blow a portion of it,
This
but
is the
it
one
gets
that
picked up.
just removes the
whacker
snow
Newsom.
over? This is what you're talking about?
Correct, and that's what we use, it's an industrial snow blower that throws it in the back of the truck.
Okay, so that's not a sidewalk plow.
No, it's an industrial snow blower.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's not a
It's,
sidewalk
that's,
plow.
but that's what it is, yeah, that's what they've had, that's what the,
That's what they've been using for a while.
Yeah.
That's
correct.
something new.
correct.
Okay.
It's a new one of those.
It's
It's
a new one of
new
those.
model of that.
Well, that's not very heartening. I misunderstood it. I thought it was gonna be a sidewalk plow.
ask for sidewalk?
Yeah,
It's
I
a
thought they did.
the Whacker Newson that they're leasing.
Right, but it's not a
It-
plow.
it-
I
it
think
has-
it-
They
It
call
never
it
was a
something.
plow.
It has a
Yeah.
plow attachment, but that's used for plowing roads and parking lots. It's an 8 or 9 foot actual plow that goes on the
Yeah,
front of
it's
that.
like a snow blower.
The snow,
type
the
thing.
snow blower
Yeah.
attachment is the sidewalk one.
Yeah.
The
And
plow
usually
is an actual
usually the truck
plow.
drives
There's
next
maybe
to it
next
and
to
it
it.
shoots
Correct.
the,
Snow.
yeah.
But how can we, the problem that happened the last storm was, and it was conveyed to me by quite a few people about the bus stops for the kids and waiting for the bus, and you and I had a conversation, in the mornings and the afternoons and how unsafe that was. So it just makes it difficult.
I have an idea. What's the next thing mailing that goes out? I think people need a letter from us.
Here's an idea. I have a bus stop in front of my house, and I've been out there with a shovel, trying to shovel it out, and parents are just standing there. So why don't we just try to get the whole town engaged,
Right.
I
People
mean,
need
I
to
have
do
200
their
feet of
own
sidewalk. How am I supposed to do all that by myself? 3 or 4 times. I can't. It's impossible.
Yeah, I think people need to be educated. I don't think a lot of people know that they're supposed to be doing this.
Well, I just think we
And
need
that's
to
the
come up with
first,
a better plan.
that's the first step, is
We
to
gotta educate
educate
them,
folks
yeah.
on what's needed.
And then we
Um,
find
And tonight was, and I think tonight's call was the first part of that, coming out of the gate. So
It
that
was, and it'll
important.
be a perpetual reminder to folks
was on the
to stay
code
on top
red.
of it.
What is the next mailing that goes out? Is there something?
The
that
next
goes out
mailing will
this
be a utility bill, I believe. So water, sewer,
morning? We should
and
keep in mind when that
we'll
goes
we'll
out.
look to see if we can put something in there, if there's not something in there already.
Yeah.
When does that happen,
I'm not doing it. Fire me all you want. I can't do it.
When's the next one?
roughly?
I don't even know what the date is today, so I'm not gonna be able to help you with that.
So
Because I'm
within
telling
the
you,
next
there are-
couple of
there are
months, it'll
plenty
be.
of- There are plenty, if not
do the
like
best I can.
80% of able-bodied people in this town that could clear, it's just like in the city when, that could do it. And then if we make it so that the exceptions, we work, we find high school like, there are ways to make it
Community
happen. But I
service.
will tell you, when you
Mhm.
drive
That
around
was
town,
suggested as well.
it's
but-
treacherous for kids and people with babies and older. I mean, I see people walking up Railroad Ave, like on the street
At night.
with cars,
Yeah.
like going past them, and it's
That's
just, it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
But I just wanna, as far as the DPW equipment, where does that get used, and where does it stop, and where does it start? I mean, does the DPW need to formulate a
He
kind of
has,
a plan of
he has a
action?
whole
They-
plan.
they
He's
have a
told
very
us about it
detailed
before.
system.
Right, but if
yeah.
that's the static plan and that doesn't change, or they amend that in light of, new circumstances, but I think that needs to be,
I agree
because
with Ron.
because if I see something, if I'm in a neighborhood and I see it come by on one side of the street and then on my side, why aren't they coming to my side? I just wanted to
And often
clearly
they will get
articulate.
to that side, and that's the thing, they do
Excuse
all the
me.
way down the street, and then they start at the other end and come all the way up.
We've been-
Um,
yeah,
so,
we've been
yeah,
through this
they're-
before, and they have a whole.
They do, and the director and the assistant director are aware that they need to be sure that it's keeping up with the actual need. So if there need to be changes, they're aware they'll,
But I think
keep an
that
eye
should
on
be
that.
articulated also as part of the the education plan, is that here's what we're going to do for the safety of our kids, or however it's
Yeah.
worded, and then we go from there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Toby, question?
I have a number of comments to ask to Steve, may I?
Well, just for a second, we're not gonna, this isn't like a public hearing, this was just our discussion item, so you can make a few very brief comments.
Well, it would make sense to hear things before you go onward. It was said that the first step was education. I can't agree. I think the first step is to read the bylaw, which you will find is unenforceable. Has anyone read the bylaw?
Yeah, to
I
the
have.
extent practicable.
Right, okay, which could mean anything. It's
Right.
not enforceable. Then there are issues of fairness, as Nina Sheedy, referred to. On some streets, there are sidewalks both sides. On some streets, there are sidewalks on one side. So some people are off the hook and others are nailed. And suddenly you're guilty because you have a sidewalk in front of your house and your neighbors are excused.
It's true.
And as Nina
Yes,
Sheedy
yes,
spoke about
that's
the
true.
trucks, every time they do it, that is plow it. I have a corner at the corner of my house, the lane that goes down to Granite Pier, they plow up a bank, waist high and more of solid slush there. Am I responsible for that? What about old people who physically can't do it? What about people who
Okay,
go
let's
off to
not,
Florida?
let's
Okay.
end it, got it.
I mean, it's just not fair or reasonable, and it's not enforceable as written.
Okay. Is that, I think that's good for tonight on this?
I think so.
Okay, moving on, workshop meeting schedule. Did we come up with something yet, or I don't think we have, actually, have we?
No, we have a whole list of workshops
I know,
that
which-
you wanted, and
Right, but we need to look at it, we need to look at it.
we need to find,
Yeah.
Has Debbie written?
No, I can work with Debbie on it and then email out a suggested draft, just so people we can try to schedule some stuff before our next meeting, and then we can just vote on it. Is that okay?
Yep, perfect.
Great. And then any other business or announcements?
No?
Wally, I'm sorry.
Now that you're all here, I would like to try to schedule a meeting with you on the Long Beach infrastructure.
That's on our list of what we're trying to schedule, of things we have to schedule. It is, yeah.
Yep, I'm wondering if we can schedule it right now.
we need to see our whole list of what we have to schedule.
Yeah.
We could try, but
Let me tell you what the urgency is. It's not just Wally wanting to get it done. A few weeks ago, we were awarded a grant to do a study, or not a study so much as providing the ability to approvals to fix the wall. The grant was to design the wall and to get bids to build the wall.
Not to get bids.
Well,
It
that's what it
was
said on the list.
construction documents, perhaps, but it was licensing that was part of it.
Licensing, well.
well, I don't want to
How-
make the impression that we're moving forward with.
But anyway, we will lose part or all of our grant if we haven't spent at least 100,000 of it by the end of June. Now, in order to do that, we have to go through the whole process to decide what we want to do. And then we have to get the firm, which would probably be GZA, to go and start this whole process and spend at least 100,000 by June 30, or we can lose the grant.
Can lose it or we will lose it?
Well, that's, the discussion with the guy at the EEA, whatever the authority is, there was a phone discussion with him and Joe Parisi. And that's what he told Joe. In fact, he told Joe an earlier date, and Joe negotiated it all the way back to June 30. When you think about what needs to be done before we assign the job to somebody to
Well-
permit all this and design it.
Right, but before that, we need to decide if we want to even.
We haven't decided what we're gonna do yet.
Right.
So that's my whole point.
So,
My whole point
right,
is,
so I'm-
we've got to get going on this, or we'll never make it.
So who applied for the grant? LBIC?
No,
It was, remember the night that Steve Sheehan came in and said, you people don't ever go after grants, and
Yeah, I
we
remember.
got one
Which
due
one?
on Friday, and you looked to me and said, can we do it? And I said, okay. So that's the one we're talking about. We applied for it and got it.
yes, I think unfortunately we got it a year earlier than we preferred to get it. And so when we had our first LBIC meeting at this table, the first thing that we were handed was a copy of this grant application, and we were requested to sign it. We didn't sign
Who
it,
filled-
then we signed it the next
Okay.
week later. It was 70 pages, we hadn't had a chance to read it, so all of a sudden this thing jumped up on us and
Okay,
and
so
turned
I-
it upside down.
Okay, so I don't think that any of us, LBIC or Board of Selectmen, should feel compelled to spend $100,000 just because we got a grant for something. I think we need to like rationally make any decisions, and like put the money aside basically and decide which direction we want to move. Because I assume, is it a matching grant?
Yes,
Yeah.
we submitted.
Exactly. So now it's $100,000 that's costing us $100,000. So that
We
even
put it-
further.
Their grant was 225 and our piece would be 75.
Okay, so, so I think we need to just put that aside for now and schedule a time to meet, because we need a time to meet. Does that make sense?
Yep, what I don't wanna do is put it off so long that we can't.
That
make it
if,
through
that
we
if
can't
we
make it.
wanted to act on the grant, it would be too late to act on the grant. Right.
Beating on me saying we didn't get the thing done.
We won't beat on you, I promise. You have it on TV now, Wally. We won't beat on you for this. We might beat on you for some other stuff, but not this. And then, is there also a chance of putting off the grant until next year if we wanted to? Did Joe ask that? Do we know? Okay,
I don't know.
okay, so,
That's good.
Until
Good
we know
question,
more
maybe?
about what we're supposed to do, we don't even know what.
okay, so we just need to set up a time to meet, clearly. Okay, so I think we have a meeting with the DPW that cannot be put off, right? Do you know the date of that? I think it's February 6th?
February 6th.
Okay, and then I assume we have a meeting on the 13th, right? So, and I think that the 20th is school vacation, correct? So I think we're probably, if we're looking at Tuesdays, looking at the 27th, or do we have a meeting that night?
I'm just wondering if we could have a meeting the 7th, 8th, 9th, or in the morning, 10th, any one of those. We could probably jam it into an hour and a half. Doesn't have to be one of your meetings, it can be just a special meeting.
Right, but we just try to stick to Tuesdays so that we can go to other meetings and other nights, but we could,
It would be really good to get this done, so if we decide we have to go for it, the end of February is way too late.
did you say the 13th is a regular meeting?
13th of February, yes.
I mean, I'm wondering if we could try to arrange for a short regular meeting, a small regular meeting agenda, and then LBIC. Do you think maybe that could work? Would that work for people? I think there's a chance I'm away for work the 7th, 8th, and 9th, so the 13th. Would that work, the 13th?
If it works for me, I gotta check with the rest of it.
Okay, right. Why don't you touch base with the LBIC and see if that works for people, the 13th?
Yeah, I can figure that out. Get back to Elizabeth.
Maybe we could try to do regular meeting from 7 to 8, and then adjourn and go into and do an LBIC meeting from 8 to 9:30. Would that work for people that night, meeting night? Is that okay with you guys? Okay, so let's aim for that. Does that make sense?
I like it.
Great. Great. Okay, anything else for other business? What, I'm gonna consider, but it's gonna be a publicly posted meeting that anyone can come to. I'm not into like making a list of who has to be invited, and then I get who wasn't invited, whose feelings were hurt. Our meetings are public. All several thousand people who live here, I would love to see, and they could all, you know, but we're not at the point of like, I don't think, inviting specific committees for things yet. Okay?
Yep.
Great. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries.